Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is FAQ number 11. Let's go straight into the questions. Question number 1 from Anthony. Hey Juca, could you please explain how to connect the power amp in jack to an audio interface to play with plugins? Because an audio interface has two line outputs, left and right. So Anthony, it's very simple. You just use one output from your sound card, audio interface, whatever you want to call it, and straight in power amp in. You don't need to use both because it's impossible. Just use left or the right, it's the same thing, connect it and you're good to go. I hope I'll answer your question. Let's go for the next one. From Saul, what exactly is the GX100 plugged into? Well, if we're talking about my GX100, it's plugged into an audio interface. In this case, it's an Apollo, an UAD Apollo audio interface. They sell about $700, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and but you can connect it to any audio interface, it will sound good, even a Focusrite cheapest one. You just need to have two inputs in order to make the most out of it and play it like in stereo. If you don't have a sound card or an audio interface, you can also plug via USB, and inside your DAW you connect. You choose the way in, you choose the Boss GX100, the way out, whatever you want to do, whatever you have there, studio monitors, headphones. So anything will do, but in my case it's an audio interface, and I always go via two jacks instead of USB because I need USB for other stuff. Let's go for the next one. From Isaac Lauzel, this is in Portuguese, great sound. I have a question. What do you think about the fretboard of the Strat Schecter in Ebony? It uses a lot for jazz and fusion, but maple is more common. I'm trying to put this in English. How do you feel about Ebony? More brilliant, more bright in this case than maple. Do you feel any difference with the frequencies, middle frequencies? To be totally honest with you, I think that the woods are. This is my opinion, okay? So don't take it personally. The woods are a little bit of a myth with the woods and tone wood. I'm not a huge believer in tone wood. Maybe they contribute, in my opinion, to the overall sound like 1%, but that's my perspective. So having something in maple or ebony, as long as you can dial the tone that you want with your amp or effects processor, and if you're into recording, you can of course use lots of post-processing and stuff like that, so you can achieve any tone you want. I don't find necessarily maple brighter than ebony, or for me they all sound the same basically. It's just the way, it's more the way of a guitar is built. If it's very well built, you will notice a difference in the woods and construction and the frets when the woods expand or contract, and you always have stability. That's why there are cheaper guitars and more expensive ones, because of the construction in itself, but not necessarily because of the woods, because in the end it will all sound the same, in my honest opinion. But you know, take this with a little bit grain of salt. You have to find out for yourself, but I'm not a huge believer in that, so it says like that. I hope you answer your question. Good luck. Next question from George Jupp. Hey Juca, I have one 335 guitar, light guitar, and one Les Paul light guitar. Does patch with made for Stratocaster like guitar make my 335 or Les Paul guitar more Strat like guitar? Stupid question, but anyway. And the best classic and blues rock guitars in your opinion? Thanks in advance. Well, does it make it sound like more? No, it doesn't. If you have a Strat patch was specifically designed for a Strat, it will probably sound better with a Strat. Now, I don't know if you're talking about the Boss Katana or the Boss GT1000, because you have certain options where you can choose. There's an effect where you can choose from humbucker to single coil, and vice versa, and even some more other stuff. So you can easily replicate the sound of a single coil guitar on your 335 or Les Paul with that effect. Just with the patch you'll have a sound that will be totally different from a single coil guitar, but that doesn't mean it sounds bad. I have many patches designed for Stratocaster guitars that sound beautiful with my Les Paul, so it's just a matter of experimenting. Regarding the best classic rock guitars, I usually go for Les Pauls and 335, in this case my Epiphone, but that doesn't mean that you can also get a great tone out of a, I don't know, out of a Charvel or something like that, or an Ibanez. But more classic, yeah, Les Pauls and the like, Stratocaster and stuff like that. I hope I answered your question. Thank you. Let's go for the next one. From Vitor Ribeiro. Hi, how can I get rid of ear picking highs when using high gain on the Katana without losing too much high end? Well, this has been debated a lot on the internet, also in my channel and stuff. And what I do usually, it's the high cut in Boston Studio, the last parametric EQ amp out, not amp in, where I cut around 630 to 5. Never go below that because it will kind of sound muffled. But if you really want to take that, put it like in 5 to 6 and 30, I think that's the value in Tone Studio in the high cut. And then to compensate, use a graphic EQ or another parametric EQ before in the signal chain in Tone Studio, where you can compensate for that little. I do this a lot. I use a graphic EQ and boost what I already cut. This is a very common technique used in studio. Mixing engineers use it all the time. And it works as well in Boston Studio. So that's what I do. Sometimes it's very bright, depending on the guitar you have. So I cut like around 5. It stays a little bit muffled, the tone. And I insert a graphic EQ before all of that and boost around 5 to 8K. And it works perfectly. And now there are different signal chains, as you know. When I want some more of a metal aggressive tone with some highs, I use signal chain number 1. It works great for heavy metal tones. When I want more of a mellow soft, a different kind of rock or metal tone, usually it's chain number 3 in Boston Studio. Most used one, I believe. But chain number 1 gives you, since it puts DQs in the loop, if I'm not mistaken, of the chain, you have the ability to sculpt the tone a little bit more. So try that on chain number 1 and cut it around 5, and you'll probably be able to get rid of that nastiness. I'm assuming that you have just a speaker, stock speaker, and not any cab. If you have any cab connected to a Boss Katana head, it's totally different. But it's totally different. I mean, the tone could be totally different, but the approach will be the same. So good luck with that. Next question from Kyle Holt. What's the best way to level out the sound among all my patches when you're using the GAFG EFC pedal? I have an article on that, and I think it is generally considering all the patches that you have on your amp and make them all in the same volume. I have an article, I'm gonna link it below on the video, where I explain that what I do, so I don't mess around with the tone too much, the less possible. It's in the volume, the last thing in the volume of the EQ, not necessarily the parametric EQ at the end, but one of the EQs that I'm using in the middle, like a graphic EQ or something like that. It could be in the end, of course. And using the level, it gotta be on the end, it gotta be in front of the amp instead of before the amp, because before the amp it will boost the signal, right? And it will mess with your tone. After the amp, it will be just a level. So you use that slide on, if it's, I don't know if it's an MK1 or MK2, but the graphic EQ, use the level slide. And I think it might be a tedious work to do. That's why all my patches from a while back ago now come all level in the same ballpark sort of thing. But I used to make the patches and I didn't care too much about the level. So people started to asking me to make patches all in the same level. So that's what I do today. And I use that I explained in the article that I'm going to link below. When I just use a slide and then save it. 4 patches you have, or 8 patches, depends. So I put them all in the same. I use my ear and I'm using the DAW to see if the peaks of or some sort of digital metering. No, I just use my ears. They sound the same. Usually works great. So I click save and leave that slide EQ where it should be, so they all match. I hope I answered your question. Let's go for the next one. Last but not least, Leopoldo 1. Which kind of tablet and kind of cable you need to use Katana Librarian app connected to the amp? So you need an OTG. I'm gonna put it here, an image, so you can connect your tablet to your Boss Katana. But any tablet will do, as long as it works properly, you know. Even guys, I don't know, have some Kindle or something. We don't have that here, tablets they buy from Amazon or stuff like that. Of course, the better the tablet, the faster you get everything done. So I would go for a Samsung because they are relatively cheap. Depends on the model, of course, but the entry level, they are affordable and they work cool. And now you have also, you can, if you want to spend more money, you can have an iPad, because Katana Librarian is also now an iOS version. So if you have iOS, if you have some iPad or something like that, you can use that as well. So just an entry-level Samsung or something like that will do. Any tablet, in fact, will do. But it's an OTG cable. It's on my website, but I'm going to post a picture of here if I haven't done so yet. And it's very easy to control after that. Now you can also grab the air step. I made a video by itself. Check my videos, because it's via Bluetooth with your phone, and it works great. You connect it to your amp, like you connect the GAFC, and then you have more functions to it, and you can control it via Katana Librarian as well as the iOS version. So it's a really neat piece of gear. Check it out, it's one of my reviews. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this FAQ. I had a lot to do this past couple of days. That's why I postponed to this Wednesday. I'm shooting this the day before, and I had a little bit of mini vacation with my kids, and now I'm back on track and doing all over again. There are questions that are not yet answered, but I'll do my best to put them all on the next FAQ that will be again on every Monday. So hope you enjoyed this. Please, if you haven't done so, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It will help a lot. And that's it. I hope you guys are safe wherever you are. See you on the next one. Cheers.